to Cal State Fullerton's The Report with the latest news, views, and info to go. I'm Christina Rasband.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Jen Moynihan.
Today we will start by discussing some hot topics, including harassment on New York City streets, a social media ride-sharing service coming to Fullerton, one U.S. man's 8-month imprisonment in Mexico, Oregon's Death with Dignity Act, and a CEO's personal announcement.
Beyond our discussion, we have reports on current CSUF news and events, including the anniversary of the fallen Berlin Wall, theater's latest fall play, last week's Dia de los Muertos festivities, and more.
And finally, we conclude with the top local and national news on midterm election results, updates on a hit and run in Orange County, one celebrity's new video website, a historic New York building open for business, and Virgin Galactic's historic space setback.
A video depicting a woman being harassed in New York City has gone viral on YouTube. The 2-minute video condensed over 10 hours of footage on actress Shoshana Roberts, dressed in a t-shirt and jeans, as she walked through the city streets. It showed men of different backgrounds and ages commenting, whistling, and even following her as she passed by. The video, which was created by the organization Hollaback, brings awareness to street harassment, is only a snapshot of what some women have to deal with on a daily basis. The video has over 24 million views and has received over 65,000 comments, mostly from men. What do you think about the street harassment issue and this organization's video response?
Well, we were talking about this earlier. I think the fact that we all have like a story just like hers is sad. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't have stories to tell that are like hers. Watching the video, it hurt me. And then reading the comments that some people made that she's dressed like a prostitute, so she deserved it.
A shirt and jeans?
She's in a t-shirt and jeans. Come on. When are we going to draw the line with... You can't take those comments as compliments. Those aren't compliments. Those are creepy.
Well, some of them were even blaming her for, not speaking to the guys. Like the one that was following her for more than 5 minutes, they said, well, if she would have just said hi to them, maybe it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like, it's not her fault. She's being harassed by these people. And I mean, there's statistics out there saying that like 87% of women between the ages of 18 and 64 have been harassed at some point in their life. So this is an issue.
Right. And I think it's important as college students for also for everyone to be able to see this video. Mm-hmm. Because we are the age group that's mostly getting targeted right now. My dad was even saying that he was shocked at how many comments these men were making to her, and he was like, this is disgusting. Mm-hmm. Men should not feel able to say those things. And I'm not saying all men do this at all, but the men that do feel comfortable to say those things, it's not appropriate. And I can't imagine. Have you guys seen those videos where they have the girls catcalling the guys?
The mock video?
Yeah, but it's not appropriate either way. And I'm glad that this company is actually doing something about it.
The social media-based ride-sharing service known as Uber is coming to Fullerton. With the help of a mobile application, users can connect with nearby drivers for hire. Reporter Rachel Ramos has the details.
The newest transportation service app, Uber, is quickly one-upping competing taxi services. Uber is becoming increasingly popular among college students because of how easily accessible it is, as well as the lower cost. Uber uses dispatch information to connect you to a driver in minutes. There is no cash exchange involved because the app uses credit card information to make the transaction. The app also tells you ahead of time the cost it would be to get to your desired location.
I use Uber because it's like the new thing and all my friends use it, and like on Friday nights when I'm going to a party, it's just easier to get around. And
this new generation of apps and mobile messaging has allowed for this transition from taxis to Uber cars. Time will only tell if Uber will take over altogether and cause extinction for taxi companies. The rise in technology is allowing for many college students to use this new app Uber instead of taxis. It is a very efficient way of transportation and can be used as a ride-sharing service.
Do you think Uber is safe, and would you use this service?
I personally would use this service. I haven't gotten around to doing so, but I do know a lot of people that have used it. They say that it's cheaper than using a taxi, and there's also deals that you can get by using it. I think your first time is free, and then if you refer friends, you also get free rides. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, especially for college students.
And didn't you say they do background checks on their drivers?
Yes.
They look into them, so it's not like you're getting in a car with some sketchy individual.
Right. I went online and I was like, I'm going to be an Uber driver. And I ended up filling out a sheet where it asked my home address. It asked for my social security number. It also asked the make and model of my car and the license plate. So I mean, it sounds pretty safe. You also have to upload a picture so people that are looking for an Uber ride know who they're going to come across. So I think it's pretty safe, and I think it's pretty cool that you can get a cheap ride to wherever you need to go.
Yeah, I think either way with an Uber or a taxi, you don't know who the driver is, so you do have a risk either way, but I think it's just as safe as a taxi.
I like that you bring up taxis because I feel like in this situation, they're probably the ones who are going to be angry because it cuts out the middleman. Where if you have a social media app where you can hire a driver to do this for you without having to use a taxi service, I mean, you know, it kind of makes taxi drivers obsolete. This thing is being used in over 45 countries. It's picking up here. We're going to be getting it in Fullerton, so I guess we'll see.
Well, and the thing too with taxi drivers, when you call up a taxi, you don't see who you're going to be having drive you.
Yeah,
that's very true.
So if you have this opportunity to see who your driver is, I think people are going to take that over calling up who knows who the heck is going to be on the other side of the, you know. So I think Uber is going to be a cool thing, especially for college students that are, you know, going to downtown Fullerton or Disneyland. You want a quick ride over there?
And it's cheaper, so that's an added plus.
Exactly.
Nearly 8 months after his arrest and imprisonment for crossing the U.S. and Mexican border with loaded guns, retired U.S. Marine Sergeant Andrew Tonnerec has been released. The 26-year-old Florida man was said to have gotten lost while driving on a poorly marked California freeway ramp that sent him across the border and into Tijuana. He was arrested by Mexican officials soon after on weapons charges for the 3 guns in his vehicle. Several weeks ago, Tonnerec's defense attorney cited humanitarian reasons, including the Mexican prison's inability to treat the ex-Marine's PTSD and a violation of his civil rights as grounds for his release. However, it was reported that recent diplomatic involvement by the U.S. prompted the judge presiding over the trial to release Tonnerec Friday. What are your thoughts about this man's 8-month arrest and imprisonment?
Well, I personally think it's great that he's finally been released. But the thing that I have a big question mark is, what was he, an ex-military or he is
an
current?
Ex-Marine, yeah.
Okay. How did he miss the sign saying that you're going to Mexico? Because I feel like it's very
Vague.
blunt. Yeah, it's also vague. And why was he carrying 3 guns in his car? You know, there's just a lot of question marks for me that I don't feel like these things have been released yet to the public. So, I don't know.
I think the fact that he was carrying 3 guns gave them the right to question him, especially since he crossed the border. But why did it take 8 months for them to release him? It should not have taken that long for them to let him go after they figured out, okay, you're an ex-Marine, everything's fine. Why 8 months? And why for his PTSD?
Well, and I was talking about earlier with you ladies that I've gone down to the border of Mexico before. There are a ton of Border Patrol people with guns. So I really don't understand how he was able to cross over into Tijuana without encountering Border Patrol. They're everywhere. So that also, I don't, but good for him for finally getting out of there. And his mom said that he was craving a steak once he got out. So
Sounds good.
Of course.
hopefully he got what he wanted.
I mean, I think you were right. Like, when you cross the border, how do you not know that you're crossing from California into Mexico?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, some of our freeway systems here aren't marked as well as they could be, but I feel like you should still know when you cross from California to Tijuana. And in regards to his 8 months that he was held in Mexico, probably a little bit too long, but I mean, like we were saying earlier, the details from the media, I feel like we don't know enough about the situation to actually know what happened.
Yeah.
The terminally ill 29-year-old with brain cancer, Brittany Maynard, ended her life Saturday under Oregon's Death with Dignity Act. Maynard has been in national spotlight recently for making public her decision to move from Northern California to Portland with her husband in order to use Oregon law to end her life on her own terms. She approached the Compassion and Choices advocacy group with her story and plans to end her life on November 1st, with hopes that it would raise awareness about the issue and encourage political action. Chief Program Officer of Compassion and Choices, Mickey McIntyre, said, "We hope to translate that into action in moving toward legislative change in this coming session." 5 states, including Vermont, Oregon, Washington, Montana, and New Mexico, legalize aid in dying. However, detractors say it goes against their religious beliefs. Wyoming State Representative Elaine Harvey said in an interview, "That's my personal values as well. We don't get to pick. The big guy upstairs chooses when we go and when we stay." Do you think terminally ill people should have the right to end their own lives?
I mean, I can see where the religious people are coming from. You know, they feel that if you end your own life in this way, it's committing suicide, and it's up to God to figure out when you can stay and when you go. But at the same time, I mean, is it really the state's ability to decide how you can end your life? You know, we do live in a free country. 5 states have already allowed this Death with Dignity Act. I feel like if you are a terminally ill patient and you are going through severe, you know, strokes or, you know, things that, you know, you're gonna pass away anyways, you should be able to have that dignity to die when you want to.
Yeah, I do think they should have the right to decide when, especially if you know you're going to pass away in the next few days, weeks, or months. Why suffer for that length of time when you can say your goodbyes to your family and keep yourself from suffering and keep your family from suffering?
Well, I was watching a video on NBC, and one of Brittany's goals was to go to the Grand Canyon, and so she ended up going with her husband and her parents. And they had a great time, but what ended up happening the following day after they went was that she had a major seizure, and you know, her tumor was getting worse and worse. And what's really sad about the whole thing is that why should someone feel like they have to continue living if ultimately they're being told they're going to die within 6 months, you know? And I think one thing that she really wanted to do was have some pride for not only herself, but for her family, and not have her family and her friends see her go through that. I know for myself personally, I would probably do what she did, because I think that's really hard for a family to see and go through.
When Apple CEO Tim Cook makes national headlines, it usually involves the release of a new gadget. This time, however, Cook is opening up about something more personal. In an op-ed in Bloomberg Business Week Thursday, Cook addressed rumors about his sexuality, saying, "So let me be clear. I'm proud to be gay, and I consider being gay among the greatest gifts God has given me." In what Apple chairman Art Levinson calls a courageous move, Cook also explained that releasing this personal information may help others, saying, "So if hearing that the CEO of Apple is gay can help someone struggling to come to terms with who he or she is, then it's worth the trade-off with my own privacy." However, detractors in the international community, like Russia, have made statements of their own. After the announcement, Russian officials removed a monument in the shape of an oversized iPhone from a university campus in St. Petersburg. According to Russian officials, propaganda related to sexual orientation is prohibited. What do you think about Apple's CEO announcement and Russia's reaction?
If I can say something, how does an iPhone represent homosexuality? I don't know. When I look at my phone, I'm like, yeah, that's totally homosexual. I don't know. That is too far for Russia to go to that extent, to remove a monument of an iPhone because of something that he's obviously taking pride in telling the public that he's gay.
Yeah, Russia just needs to calm down. I mean, I'm happy for him that he can come out and say it, and feel free to come out and say it, because I think in the United States a lot of us have supported him, and he's getting a lot of support from it, but Russia just doesn't agree.
I feel like Russia did it to make a point, but at the same time, it was kind of an unnecessary point because, like you were saying, an iPhone doesn't have anything to do with sexual orientation. Yeah. I mean, just because the CEO of Apple did come out and release this personal message in an op-ed doesn't mean that the company represents that. But at the same time, I do think it's courageous of him to speak out and say that because, like he was saying in his op-ed, if it does help others to see someone in such a large company and it's coming out and saying, hey, you know what, it's okay, you know.
But I will play devil's advocate and say that as a CEO of a company, I don't think it is professional to come out and say, hey everybody, I am gay. Because I know if I was CEO of a company, I wouldn't come out and be like, hey everybody, I'm straight, you know? So I don't think that was appropriate on his part. But I also don't agree with Russia taking down that monument. So, I mean, that's great that he feels comfortable saying that, but as CEO, I think you can keep your beliefs to yourself.
You know what's unusual too, though? He's not known to come out and give out personal information. Usually when we hear about Tim Cook, it's a release of a new Apple product. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he did come out and make that statement kind of says something, I guess.
Yeah, he starts his statement by saying, so let me be clear. Maybe he had people in the community asking or speculating something was up. Maybe he felt the need to clear up whatever comments were being made.
Right.
I don't know.
And now let's switch over to the campus events of the week. In honor of the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, Cal State Fullerton hosted an event at the Nixon Library on Monday. Students and faculty had the opportunity to learn about the historical and present-day impacts of Germany's reunification from guest speakers including Congressman and Chair of House Foreign Affairs Committee Ed Royce and Professor Wes Dalton from UC Irvine. Tours of the museum were also offered. They featured memorabilia from Nixon's presidency and even a piece of the Berlin Wall.
Students, do you ever get the urge to not pay your taxes and just stick it to the man? Well, the protagonist in Fullerton's latest fall play does exactly that. In 1849, the rebellious theorist Henry David Thoreau failed to pay his taxes in protest of the Mexican War and wound up spending the night in jail. Watch as this drama explores the origin of civil disobedience and its consequences. The Night Thoreau Spent in Jail premieres Friday at 8 p.m. and will run until November 23rd at the Young Theater. Tickets are $11 at the door or $10 if purchased in advance. Titans, you won't want to miss this.
The campus celebrated its annual Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead festivities, last Wednesday. The Chicana and Chicano Studies Alliance organized this event to celebrate the lives of deceased loved ones. Festivities included a decorated altar covered with food, flowers, drinks, and pictures in front of the Humanities and Social Sciences building. The day also featured ballet, folklorico, mariachi bands, poetry, face painting, and a candlelight vigil. This annual celebration traditionally begins on October 31st and continues until November 2nd in Mexico and the U.S.
Last month, Cal State Fullerton students living in the residence halls competed in the annual Battle of the Building event. Justin Pachuano has the story.
The annual Battle of the Buildings competition is underway on the campus of Cal State Fullerton. A lively and spirited opening ceremony sparked things off. From there, the games began. The dorms on the campus of Cal State Fullerton are competing in a vast battle to find out which is superior. The series of games included People Bingo, Epic Rock, Paper, Scissors, Finish the Lyrics, 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and a scavenger hunt. Participants were having fun and enjoying themselves.
I think it's great, great energy, great people.
Oh yeah, the dancing was good, especially for my boy Josh Bradley.
You know, Battle of the Buildings, everyone's coming out, showing their pride, doing their thing, competing. It's cool.
It's good because you get to know a lot of people.
It's good to get out your dorms and...
It's awesome. It's fun. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Awesome.
The friendly and fun competition is put on by the Resident Student Association. The event began the first weekend of October and will span 2 consecutive weekends. The last day of the competition is October 11th, when an unanimous winning team will be declared.
As the battle continues, a winner will soon be crowned champion. Reporting from Fullerton, I'm Justin Patuano.
The 2014 midterm election results are in today, and do we have some good news for you? In California, Governor Jerry Brown won re-election for his 4th term in office, beating his competitor Neil Kashkari. 58% to 41%. Congressman Ed Royce regained his seat in the 39th District, which includes the city of Fullerton and Brea. In Anaheim and Santa Ana, Loretta Sanchez defeated Adam Nick for his seat in the 46th Congressional District. Also, state Propositions 1, 2, and 47 passed in California. On the national front, the Republican Party won a 52 to 43 seat majority in the Senate and a 243 to 176 majority in the House of Representatives against the Democratic Party.
New investigations in the Santa Ana hit and run that killed 3 teenage girls on Halloween night revealed that the suspect may have lived in the same apartment building as the victims. Prior warrants for 31-year-old Joaquin Ramon Bell list his address as the same Fairhaven Avenue apartment complex where Lexi and Alexandra Perez Huerta and Andrea Gonzalez lived. The girls were trick-or-treating Friday evening when they were hit by a Honda CR-V traveling at a high speed. Currently, Bell is being held in Santa Ana jail on a bond of $530,000.
Last month on the report, we mentioned the proposal approved by the Anaheim City Council that allows officers of the Anaheim Police Departments to wear body cameras while on the job. Reporter Daniel Montez has more on the implementations of this device.
Anaheim police officers will be the first to shoot this November, but they will not be shooting their weapons. Instead, they'll be shooting footage from a body camera. 250 police officers will be wearing this new device starting in November. The body camera is no bigger than an iPhone 5, where it will be positioned on an officer's chest, picking up all audio and video during any police interaction. The City Council recently passed a proposal allowing the Anaheim Police Department to be the first ones to try out the body camera in Orange County. The camera is intended to increase transparency in a police department that has been troubled with violent shootings in 2012.
It'll help eliminate a lot of allegations of police misconduct by showing real footage of to the public and not only to the agencies on how incidents develop or what goes on the field.
This body camera not only regulates police action, but how a person may act knowing that they are being recorded when they encounter the Anaheim PD.
Definitely. I would love to be recorded after being, I want everyone to know that everything that they're doing is being recorded. To be honest, I think it's a great idea. We have all kinds of situations where cops are, taking advantage of their powers.
The Anaheim Police Department will be the first ones to try out this body camera in Orange County. They hope to have the entire department wearing these body cameras by April of next year. From Anaheim, Daniel Montanez.
One Orange County ice cream shop is putting a new spin on a classic dessert. Let's go to Rachel Shin for more on how to get a hold of these tasty treats.
Who knew that After's Ice Cream Parlor's innovation for the Milky Bun, a donut ice cream sandwich, would have had the same amount of fame as the classic peanut butter and jelly? Not even the owners could have expected the lines that the Milky Bun would bring to their store when it happened. Nonetheless, people come down despite the time and gas they sacrifice just in order to try this new creation.
I think this would be a complete worth driving far away from because it's the most delicious thing I've ever had ever.
Yeah, I try to come down regularly, but it's kind of far. It's almost 45 miles away, but they are one of my favorite ice cream shops.
John Barber, a partner of Scott and Andy, explained how this fateful dessert came to be.
Because we knew we had good ice cream, we were looking for a medium to sort of put the ice cream either on or in, and Scott walked in with a box of donuts. And we looked at the donuts and we looked at the ice cream, put them together, tasted it, and said, this is it.
However, that isn't their happily ever after. Because of a new city ordinance that was placed on them, business owners Scott and Andy were forced to think in creative ways not only to meet the demands of their customers, but also to appease city officials.
Between half and 2/3 of our customers are from 9 to 12. When this thing exploded, we had lines going out the door, and basically we didn't want to shut off customers, so we kept going later and later and later. We just came up with the idea of the food truck, and that's helped significantly in reducing our sales drop based on not being open past 9 o'clock.
So although this ordinance is an obstacle for them, they remain hopeful that one day they can reach an agreement with the city, and that this parking lot will once again be filled with their customers. Reporting from Fountain Valley, I'm Rachel Shin.
And now we'll take a look at some of the latest news in our U.S. and abroad. Nearly 13 years after the terrorist attack on September 11th, New York's new One World Trade Center building is now open for business. Employees of the magazine publisher Condé Nast arrived for their first day of work Monday at the 1,776-foot building, located just steps away from where the North Tower once stood and the memorial honoring those who died in 2001. One World Trade Center, which began construction in 2006, contains enough glass to cover 20 pro football fields and has as much steel as 20,000 cars. Condé Nast, which is leasing 24 floors of One World Trade Center, told the New York Times it was proud to be a part of this important moment of renewal of the city.
More cat videos are coming to your screen thanks to EllenTube. Ellen announced her new website and app Thursday, which will feature content based on her taste and interests. Videos will include interviews from her show, funny videos, music videos, and of course cat videos. According to USA Today, talk show clips will remain on YouTube, but the new app and site features behind the scenes and exclusive content, and it will solicit user-generated content. The new website appears to be a good investment for Ellen since she accumulates over 100 million YouTube views per month.
Virgin Galactic spaceplane crashed Friday, killing one pilot and leaving another seriously injured after the plane's re-entry system deployed prematurely and caused it to break apart in mid-air. U.S. crash investigators said that the company's Spaceship Two had not reached the right speed during the descent back to Earth when the stabilizing mechanism, which was meant to reduce the plane's speed, was activated. It was reported that the co-pilot unlocked the mechanism, but that the second stage of the process happened without being commanded. In response to questions regarding pilot error, Chairman of the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board said at the press conference on Sunday, "We're not edging towards anything. We're not ruling anything out. We're looking at all of these issues to determine what the root cause of this mishap may be."
Well, that's all we have on this edition of The Report. Join us next time for more up-to-date news, views, and info to go. Thank you. I'm Christina Rasband.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Jen Moynihan. Stay fresh, Fullerton.